What's up, everybody? Jared here with carbuzz.com, and today we are driving the 2022 Nissan Armada. This is the fully loaded platinum trim version of the Armada, and that is really important because in this video I want to answer a very important question that I think a lot of shoppers are going to have. Should I get the most fully loaded Nissan Armada, or should I spend a little bit more and get the Infiniti QX80, which is basically the same car, but with an Infiniti badge? So let's start by looking at the Armada, which is in front of us. I also have a video of the QX80 on the channel, so be sure to check that out. The Armada just received a facelift for the 2021 model year. And honestly, I gotta say, even though this vehicle is kind of dated at this point, it's been on sale for a lot of years now, I think that this facelift was a really good one. We've got these new LED running lights. I think they look properly aggressive. We've got an updated grille with the new Nissan logo, which I think looks great on all of their products. And I gotta say that in the platinum trim level with this dark blue exterior, I think the Armada is a great looking truck. It's really nice, especially with these nice dark gray wheels. These are really nice looking wheels. Gotta say, it is just an overall attractive design. All Armadas have a V8 engine. You get your big V8 badge here on the fender to let you know that. It's a 5.6 liter. It's a pretty old engine by today's standards, but at least it does come standard. There's no like V6 or smaller engine. There's no hybrids or anything else. This is a big vehicle. As you can see, it fits firmly in the full-size class, competing against things like the Ford Expedition, the GM twins, the Yukon and the Tahoe, the new Jeep Wagoneer, and the newly released Toyota Sequoia. And this comes at an interesting time because I'm driving the Armada the same week that I just drove the brand new Sequoia. So there are going to be a lot of parallels that I'm going to be drawing from this Japanese full-sizer to the new Sequoia, including on price. We'll talk about that a little bit later when we get inside. But before that, let's go ahead and check out the rear, where we have this kind of huge bumper design that's always been on the Armada. We've got the new Nissan logo here with Armada below it. And we have platinum here at the bottom, letting us know that we have the most fully loaded trim level. I'm gonna go ahead and open it up to show you the trunk space, which is pretty good. It's a full-size vehicle. You should expect pretty good trunk space out of something like this. Not class leading the Tahoe, especially the Suburban, which is like the longer version of the Tahoe, obviously has more. But as you can see, it's pretty big. The thing is, though, this third row seat doesn't fold completely flat. It does have kind of like a ramp up tilt, which is a little bit annoying. And now I'll show you how to put them up. Because we have the platinum, we've got these buttons here that will automatically lower and raise the seats. On the lower trim versions of the Armada, it's going to be a manual control, so you can just flip the seats up a little bit easier. One touch, you don't have to hold it. You do have to wait a little bit, though. These are not very quick. We're still waiting. Still waiting. They're still not up yet. Whew. And done. Oh my gosh, very long wait to get those up. I'm not a huge fan of those power seats for that reason. They just take way too long to go up and down. You could literally like buckle 3 kids in before these even come up. And as you can see, the storage space behind that third row is actually quite decent, not too bad. It doesn't have the funky storage area that the Toyota Sequoia has. I implore you to go watch my video that should be live by now of the Toyota Sequoia if you want to see what the storage is like on that vehicle. As we check out the rear seat, which has the bench option for $650 extra. You can get captain's chairs here with sort of an island in the middle, like a center console. Check out my Infiniti QX80 video if you want to see that. The 2 back seats are pretty much identical on those vehicles. You can tell because we have the platinum, we've got this nice diamond quilting. I'm a huge fan of that. You don't get that on any other Armada trim levels, which is quite nice. We also have a rear seat entertainment package that I'm gonna say I'm not a very big fan of. I can go ahead and start it up in a minute, but there's really not much to see. You can plug in like an HDMI, USB, you have a headset right here, or you do get these wireless headsets here that you can tuck in there. It's not the best. I really prefer Jeeps because it has Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, and I believe Ford's is going to have that as well. This does not have any of that. It does have Miracast, but you can't use that with an iPhone, so I don't really see the point of it. I think most people have iPhones at this point, so I'm not a big fan of these screens. I'd skip that option if I were in the market. We do have heated seats back here and our own climate controls, but no ventilated seats. It's not that fancy of a vehicle, and we do have this center console that you can open up from the back, which is kind of useful, so your kids can get at what's in there pretty easily. I'm going to go ahead and show you how we get into the third row. You're going to do it right here. You're going to just pull this handle right here. That's going to put the seat into this position, and then it'll also flip like so, giving you a very large storage area to get in. Unfortunately, you can't have a car seat in place when you do that. Obviously, it would get crushed, but you can at least hop into the third row. All right, so now we're into the third row. Not a ton of knee room, as you can see here. Headroom is decent. You can go ahead and fold these a little bit using these electronic buttons, so you can recline these back a little bit if you want. You do have 4 cup holders here and some air vents as well. Not a very large back seat, and it looks like whoever used this before me left some glitter, or their child did. That's a fun, nice touch. Ugh. Let's go ahead and hop out. Not that easy to hop out. I think the captain's chairs are kind of a nice option, but because there's that island in the middle, it makes it a little bit difficult to get in and out, so I don't think I'd opt for that either. All right, so now let's check out the front of the Nissan Armada. Again, diamond quilting, very nice. I'm not a huge fan of this brown though. They offer like a beige that I think is much more attractive. And now let's fire it up with the push button start. Okay, so all Armada trims are going to get this new screen. It is much better than what was in here. It's 12.3 inches it measures. And it does have standard CarPlay, and that's wireless CarPlay as well, which is kind of nice. Although I have found that the connectivity with it is a little bit wonky. Sometimes it just disconnects or doesn't want to connect at all. The other problem that I have with it is it's laggy. It's not very quick. It's frozen up on me a few times. And as you can see, I currently have the weather over here. There's no way to get rid of that. You can change it. You can have like a clock and some other things. Nothing that I find like super useful, but you cannot unsplit screen it. It is split screen all the time, which kind of means that 12.3 inches of real estate is kind of wasted. I think that is very silly. Not sure why Nissan did that. We've got some very standard gauges here, no digital gauge cluster like you'll find on some other competitors here. And although we do have very nice standard features here, we've got like adaptive cruise control and like a very nice safety suite. It is not the type of adaptive cruise control that you can really use in stop and go traffic, which I find a little bit annoying. We do have a 360-degree camera, although the resolution's not the best that I've seen. You still have those stitch marks in there. This comes on automatically with the parking sensors all the time. Because this thing is so big, you're always going to be near something, so it's always going to interrupt your music. It's always going to pop up. I found that very, very annoying. We do have this little like Infiniti-style controller you can also use to control the screen, but I always forget it's there because it's a touch screen and it's very easy to access. We've got dual zone automatic climate control, heated and ventilated seats in this little cubby, which is covered by this kind of nice wood finish, which honestly is like just as nice as what you get in the Infiniti, which we'll talk about in just a second. You have a wireless charger that I have found does not charge my iPhone. It shows that it blinks for like a second, but then it just stops charging. So I've been using the USB-C and USB port down here. If you get a 4-wheel drive version of the Armada, you're going to have your 4-wheel drive controller here, cup holders in here. Here's the other side of that armrest that I showed you that does open up backwards in the other direction. We've got a normal sunroof, no panoramic option available on the Armada, and we do have this nice digital rear view mirror, which I think is quite cool as well. So now let's talk about the reason why I think you would buy an Armada. It is like the cheapest vehicle in its segment by a long way. It's $48,900 to start, and you get that standard 400 horsepower V8. The Tahoe and the Yukon are more expensive than that. They have less power from that 5.3 liter V8. And that Sequoia that I just mentioned, I can finally reveal pricing. The embargo has lifted at this point, is $10,000 $1,000 more than this Armada is. It starts at $58,300. So that is a huge price premium. However, you get a lot more with the Sequoia. You get more standard power. So the Platinum trim that we're driving here starts at $65,300, $68,300 if you want a four-wheel drive version. For that amount of money, you can get a Sequoia Limited, which is like one up from the base Sequoia, and it has everything that is in this Nissan Armada, plus a few other options like a panoramic sunroof and better engine, better transmission, better technology that's much newer. So I think that is what I would buy instead of this Armada Platinum. I think the Sequoia has a lot more value, even though on paper the Armada looks cheaper. When you start adding options to it, it's really not that big of a difference between it and the Sequoia. Now here's the question that we asked at the beginning. Would I buy this or would I buy an Infiniti QX80? And the easy answer for me is the Armada. So the QX80 starts at $71,100, so $3,000 more than the Armada Platinum with four-wheel drive. And you don't get all of this stuff on the QX80. You don't get this until you opt for like the top QX80. You don't get heated seats in the back. You don't get the ventilated seats. You have to opt for all of that in the QX80 as well, and that's going to cost you over $85,000. So for a savings of about 15 grand, I think you should just get the Nissan. The only thing you're losing out on with the Infiniti is like a little bit of styling on the outside and the dealer experience. I bet you the Infiniti dealership will treat you better than the Nissan dealership, but I don't think it's worth the price premium because this interior is nearly identical to the QX80. All right, so now let's get the Nissan Armada out on the road, and I want to start by talking about what I do like about this car. And the first thing I like about this car is the powertrain. You get Nissan's 5.6 liter V8 engine as standard, and it's pretty powerful. 400 horsepower, 413 pound-feet of torque, although I believe that 400 horsepower number requires you to run on premium, and that is mated to a 7-speed automatic transmission that is kind of fine by today's standards. Not the best transmission in this segment, it's just okay. The power is very smooth on delivery. I'm going to go ahead and accelerate now. Very smooth power. Shifts are appropriately smooth as well. Nissan used to say that the Armada had best-in-class standard horsepower, and that fact used to be true because the General Motors cars only have like 350 horsepower from that little 5.3 liter V8, and I gotta give it to Nissan that this 5.6 liter V8 is definitely better than that, but it is not better than GM's 6.2 liter engine, and it is not better than the high output version of Ford's EcoBoost. And now the Toyota Sequoia for 2023 has just come out with a twin turbocharged V6 engine, hybrid, 438 horsepower, 583 pound-feet of torque. Completely blows away Nissan's claim to most standard horsepower in the class. So that is kind of a big deal here. Same with towing. The Armada can tow about 8,500 pounds. The Sequoia has it pegged there, being able to tow about 1,000 pounds more. So as we're going to see, that Sequoia is coming in as a really big problem for the Armada, just offering so much more power, so much more standard power, so much more capability, and as I'm about to tell you, better driving dynamics, because I literally just drove the Sequoia last week and it drives so much better than this Armada. Now we're on to the stuff I don't like. The steering, it's really heavy, especially when you're doing tight maneuvers. I'm going to go ahead and try to execute a U-turn here, to which I think the Armada is going to be too big to do, requiring me to do, oh my god, a 3-point turn. I've had to do a lot of these this week because the Armada is just so darn big. I've been house hunting. Oh my god, it really it just gives you an arm workout trying to turn this thing around. I'm not even kidding. It really is that heavy. That is the thing I really dislike about the Armada the most, is the heavy steering. Other than that, it actually drives fine. It's very quiet. It's very comfortable. It's not any noticeably less comfortable or more loud than the new Sequoia or those GM twins or the Ford Expedition or the Jeep Wagoneer. but that steering just makes it feel like such an old vehicle, whereas all of those vehicles I just mentioned to you just feel so much more modern inside. And the fuel economy, not great either. You're going to be getting about 15 mpg average. Like it's not great. I've got some fuel economy figures here. You're looking at about 14 mpg in the city, 19 highway, 16 combined. That's with rear wheel drive. If you get the 4-wheel drive version of this car, those numbers are going to drop down by 1 in each category. So this is a very thirsty vehicle. And honestly, I think the Armada, unless you just really need the towing capability and you just want like the cheapest thing in this class, I think you should just step down and get like a Pathfinder or a Kia Telluride or something of that size. Or I think you're better off with like the GM, the new Toyota Sequoia. Those are more expensive, but if you're going to be spending over $70,000 on a fully loaded platinum Armada like this, you know, there are better options for $70,000. I guess my overall thesis of this video is that if you're looking to buy the Infiniti QX80, stop, don't. The Nissan Armada Platinum is a much better value than that. You're looking at about $71,000, which is what the QX80 starts at. So unless you really want that Infiniti dealer experience, don't just skip that and get the Armada instead. However, if you are looking at the Platinum, I think that the Toyota Sequoia, looking at that limited trim, which has pretty much everything that you'd expect in this car, plus a few other things, you don't even need to go up to the Platinum or the Capstone or the TRD Pro. It has everything this Armada has for about the same price. I really can't think of too many other reasons to recommend the Armada anymore. All right, so that was the 2022 Nissan Armada. Now that the Sequoia has been completely redone, this is now the oldest vehicle in the full-size segment. It is, fortunately for Nissan, the cheapest. So if you are looking for just a bare bones full-sizer that can tow your boat, the Armada is still a pretty good option, starting at under $50,000, $10,000 less than the new Sequoia. However, I think if you are climbing up the price ladder on the Armada, especially all the way up to this platinum trim, you will be much better served by this Toyota Sequoia or one of the American options. Now, if you are deciding between the Nissan Armada or the more luxurious Infiniti QX80, I think you have an obvious choice here. Unless you are just an absolute brand snob and you need that Infiniti badge, you want that Infiniti dealer experience, I don't think there's any reason why you should skip this Armada. It has all the features that the QX80 does. I think it actually looks just as good, if not better than the QX80, and it is far cheaper. So if you are deciding between those two, I think the Armada is the easy answer. And it proves that the Infiniti QX80 probably doesn't need to exist anymore. If you've enjoyed this look at the 2022 Nissan Armada, be sure to leave us a like, subscribe to our channel, and ring the notification bell to be alerted of our latest videos. And if you want to read more about the 2022 Nissan Armada, be sure to check out carbuzz.com. I'll see you next time.